You know what? It struck me, because I know this voter suppression thing's been going on. It's terrible. Right. I mean, it's just cheating is what it is. But you know, weren't you amazed that the Republican leader of the legislature in Pennsylvania and the party leader, Gleason, came out and said on television, we're doing this to screw the black voter. They just said it.
Which is why tonight the Corbett's defeat is very much of interest to somebody like me, because now they faced, in many ways, I think they went in so blatant that they incurred a backlash, and the mobilization that I saw when I was there, and you and I would say a blacklash has been.
I would go with that. But Philly's a good town to do that, too. They got an attitude there. They'll show an attitude when you do that.
Philly has enough attitude to export it.
As long as they vote the attitude.
And we do. Exactly. We've all lived there. We all know how it works. Let's go to Steve Kornacki here for a second on this call that just changed in Virginia. This is the Senate race in Virginia. Again, it was too early to call. It's now become too close to call. Steve, what do we know is going on here?
Yeah, so let's take a look. And as you can see in the returns that we have right now, Gillespie, the Republican, continues to lead Warner. The thing to keep in mind is the return pattern in Virginia is a little funny, and I want to show you what that means. Let's take a close look at the counties in Virginia right here, and a couple things to keep an eye on. One is, look right outside of Washington, D.C. in the northern part of the state. This is Fairfax County. This is the most populous county in Virginia. There are 1 million people, more than 1 million people in Fairfax County. This is a strong Democratic county. It usually takes a long time to come in. So you see only 7% of the vote right there, you can see, in Fairfax County. So this is sort of the heart of Mark Warner's base. You're not seeing many numbers here, and you might not see them for a while. So keep an eye on that. Also keep an eye down the city of Richmond, another Democratic bastion. There's only about 10% of the vote in right now. So if you think back to the 2012 presidential election, for most of the night, if you were looking at the returns in Virginia, you saw Mitt Romney with a stubborn lead over Barack Obama. And some of these counties came in very late and pushed Barack Obama over the top. And just one more to keep an eye on here, I think sort of a swing county in Virginia, Prince William County, again, outside Washington, D.C. The last time there was a competitive Senate election in Virginia in a midterm. So back in 2006, when George Allen lost his seat to Jim Webb, this county basically mirrored the statewide result. So keep an eye here. Again, only 4% in right now, so tough to say much from that, but keep an eye there as well.
Well, joining us right now is U.S. Congresswoman Donna Edwards, a familiar face on this network. Thank you, Congresswoman. You know, we're talking about I hate to do this, but we're going to do it. We're going to do the African-American vote, and I call them the cavalry, because usually they're assumed to be the base. This time they've been called in an emergency sort of effort by a party that's a bit, not complacent, but down, I think, emotionally down. The white voter, who's a Democrat, seems to be down. And they're saying, well, wait a minute, let's get the people who care most about this president historically. Will you explain it in your terms? Why is the African-American vote the one who's been called as almost like the emergency force to save the Democratic bacon in so many states?
Look, the African-American vote is a core vote of the Democratic Party. That is not a surprise. And I think if you look across the country, even in districts where and states where there's a small percentage of African-American vote, they're being called to arms, and they're standing up. They heard the president's call. They understand the importance of this president and standing up for this president, and they were prepared to come out and vote. And frankly, they're voting their interest. We're all voting our interest in these races, whether they're in Georgia or Maryland or out in Nebraska, where I was just a couple of weeks ago. And so I'm not surprised, and it really is because the African-American vote is a core part of our Democratic coalition.
What do you make of the way the president addressed your community, doing it sort of under the radar, not big national television speeches, but saying, I'll do black radio? You know, in other words, it's almost like telegraphing without offending the white conservative voter. What did you think of the way he sort of did this under the radar?
Well, I actually appreciate it. He came to voters where we are. We're on black radio. We're in ethnic newspapers and our community-based papers. He came to our communities where our communities are, and he spoke to us in a language that we understand and with a message that we want to deliver for the American people, saying we want to stand up for wages and income disparities and health care. And he knows, and the African-American voters know, that unless he has a Congress that's willing to work with him, it makes it really difficult for the president to succeed.
Congresswoman Donna Edwards, in Maryland right now, I'm just looking at the governor's returns. We've only got about 3% 50% of the expected vote in thus far. But the NBC characterization of that Maryland governor's race is that it is too early to call between the Democrat Anthony Brown and the Republican Larry Hogan. At this point, we don't have very much of the vote in. But while we're looking at this, what's the best hope for Anthony Brown here? And why have the Republicans been able to keep this race within reaching distance?
Well, what I know about Maryland is that probably what you have in is coming from Western Maryland and from some more rural parts of the state, so it's not a surprise that it's too close and early right now. But when the Washington suburbs are delivered, when my congressional district is delivered, when Baltimore is delivered, it's going to deliver a vote for Anthony Brown.
Congresswoman Donna Edwards of Maryland, thanks for being with us. It's going to be a long and fun night. Thanks for being here.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, coming up, a look. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got, we're going to go. I'm sorry. I was going to take us to a commercial, but much better. We're actually going to be going to Kentucky, where Allison Lundergan Grimes is going to be giving a speech. She lost tonight to Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell. Let's go live.
Thank you all very, very much. Well, good evening. Good evening. 16 months ago, we began a journey to send a message that Washington just isn't working for Kentucky, that we want to actually put the people of this state first instead of partisan politics. Along that journey, we showed this nation what the Commonwealth is truly capable of, breaking records here in this state with our fundraising, leading the nation with our work to build a grassroots organization unlike any the Commonwealth has ever seen, with over 50 offices, 6,000 volunteers, and momentum from Pikeville to Paducah to northern Kentucky. This was made possible. This was made possible because of an amazing husband, an amazing family, my fellow constitutional officers, Governor Beshear, Governor Collins, Governor Brown, Governor Jones, Governor Patton, and importantly, a dedicated staff, and each and every one of you. While tonight didn't bring us the result that we had hoped for, this journey, the fight for you, it was worth it. I will continue to fight for the Commonwealth of Kentucky each and every day. My hope is the message has been sent to Congress that we need to work to increase the minimum wage, to close the gender pay gap, and to bring good-paying jobs back to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. This journey, this fight was for each and every one of you, and I will work my hardest to keep this amazing organization that we have built together intact, to fight for a brighter and better future. We deserve that. I want to thank the hundreds of thousands of Kentuckians that made it out to vote today. You had your voice heard. That is what democracy is all about. To each and every one of you that cast a ballot in this election, I will continue to work for you, and together we will rebuild a brighter future for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you all very, very much.
Allison Lundergan Grimes making her concession speech tonight. At the poll close, NBC News did project right away that Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell would be reelected in Kentucky. At this point, you can see 57% of the vote in. You can see what the vote differential is there. Mitch McConnell had an eerie confidence all along, even as the rest of the country called this a race to watch. But this went right at the poll closing.
That wasn't your usual concession speech. Usually you congratulate the winner. You say something gracious, you move on, you unify the state to some extent. It was a partisan speech. Fair enough, it's her call, but it was unusual.
Well, it wasn't a concession speech. Usually you concede in concessions. I mean, I think that again, you need to be gracious. You can represent what you represent, but you respect the winner, and you pledge to move on together. and let him look like the one obstinate. But the other thing, I think the beginning of the end for her was when she could not say she had voted for President Obama. And it was just not the Obama voter that turned on her. You look like you lack authenticity. And she furthered that tonight by not being gracious to Senator McConnell, one who I disagree with. But you don't act in that way. I don't think that
I think she just looked shell-shocked. I don't think she expected to get beat that bad.
Yeah, I don't think that they did either. And, you know, I think it's also a reflection of just how nasty this race has been and how hard. I mean, if you talk to people who've tried to run against Mitch McConnell in the past, they all describe it as sort of a pummeling experience. I mean, we forget how many millions of dollars were put on the airwaves, both through the super PAC supporting McConnell, but also with C4. There was a lot of dark money. A lot of people didn't notice that till the end. She really took a drubbing here.
And we were just down in Harlan County in coal country in eastern Kentucky a month and a half ago. And the fact of the matter is, McConnell's strategy to tire to Barack Obama was the correct political strategy, and he had it from day one, and he never wavered. And her her unable to say that she voted for Barack Obama was because Barack Obama is deeply unpopular.
But you've got to have an answer other than humana, humana, humana.
Oh,
I know you're going to get
100% agree.
You could be a little. No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say something. Okay, I'll say it.
Okay.
She was unable to say who won the election either. I mean, look, that was a written speech. It was on the prompter. She should have said, she'll get around to it, I think. I would recommend that, the Secretary of State out there do that. I think you should concede and also congratulate the winner because it is a fair election. There wasn't any cheating in the election. You have to observe certain protocols in American politics. Just do it, get it over with. You don't have to like the guy.
There's a next step to what happens to Mitch McConnell tonight. It was now he's waiting to find out if he's not just going to be minority leader, if he is going to be majority leader of the Senate.
Sure.
But we're told, this is interesting, that he is going to speak momentarily, which means he's not going to wait to find out if he's majority leader before he gives his speech. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll, I think, be right back with Mitch McConnell's remarks. Stay with us.
Apparently decided this a while ago.